for slab boxes, and here's a good example of what you'll be producing for this first exercise. We're going to be using approximately 2.5 pounds of clay. We'll be needing to use 10 plates and rolling out the clay in this slab format. Step 1, rolling out your clay. I'm going to be showing you that live in class, how to use the slab roller. You're going to let your clay sit overnight to become leather hard before you start cutting these pieces out. The base, you're going to cut one of these out. That's going to be the bottom, so the bottom of your box. And then you will have your walls. 4 of these, 1 of these. Notice that the base is a 1/2 inch bigger. That's going to accommodate the thickness of the clay, which is a 1/4 inch thick. So 1/4 inch plus a 1/4 inch is that extra 1/2 inch when you go from left to right. With your fettling knife, you're going to be cutting out your pieces. Now if you roll this out just right, you should have more than enough. But first kind of play around with how can you get the most clay pieces, wall pieces, and a base out of what you have. So I'm just placing these out, 2, 3. All right, so I have more than enough. I'm gonna cut 1 extra wall. It's good to have a backup in case you do make mistakes or something gets a little drier than you want. Holding your fettling knife, make sure, the clay over here, make sure that you're holding this with control, gripping close to the blade, index finger on the blade, and stand in line with the cut, so you're cutting towards yourself. You're using this again as a guide. It is better if you can move your body around rather than the clay. So I'm going to be moving over here to the right, to my right, and cutting again towards myself. So there's my wall. And do this the smart way, so we don't have to do more cuts than we need to. I'm going to push the next piece right up against where I left off. So now I only have to cut 3 times instead of 4. All right, I've got 2 more walls I need to cut. Again, I'm going to push that right up against the last cut that I made. Moving around so that I'm cutting towards myself. I can see where I'm cutting. And then once you have these 4 cut and 1 base, again, if you have enough to make an extra, it wouldn't hurt. Because you know how it goes. A lot of mistakes can happen when you're working with clay. It's better to be prepared than have to try to catch up down the road. All right, so we have our pieces cut. I'm going to take the scrap and put that aside. Carefully handling these slab pieces. With slab, you do not want to overhandle the clay. That is the major craftsmanship issue, and also structurally, if you're not cutting cleanly and evenly, if you're not handling these gently like I just did. I smeared a bit of that corner back. I'm touching that up. I'm seeing that as I cut this corner here, you can see it's a little bit crooked. I'm going to gently tap that on the tabletop to square that off. Because everything does have to fit together precisely. So precision is very, very important here. Okay, step 1. After you have cut, we're assembling. You will need a couple new tools. We're going to use this corner form. It's just 2 pieces of wood that are attached at a 90-degree angle. And you have your needle tool, because we're going to be attaching these walls, and whenever we make attachments, we need to score the clay, and also we need to add our slip. Alrighty, so I'm going to sit one of these walls here along that edge, right? And then here's the plan. The other wall is going to attach there. So the corner form is helping me hold this in place while I am doing the connecting. So I'm scratching along both pieces. We're scoring the clay. I'm going to add plenty of slip. It's a good idea to have a good bit on here so that when you attach it, the excess will kind of be squished out, and you can use that to seal it together more securely. Okay, so I'm being really gentle here. We need to also reinforce this with a little clay. So we're going to take a little bit of nice soft clay, rolling coils. This time though, unlike coils for a coil vessel, you're making these super skinny, really teeny tiny here, because we don't want to end up having these be too visible. It should be blending in with the clay walls, and we still want to have a nice sharp interior corner. If we add too much clay, it'll be too bulky. So I'm going to just gently tear off the extra, and then we need to smooth this down. Now you can smooth this a number of ways. If you're careful, you can use your thumb. It really depends on how soft the clay is, or you might prefer using a modeling tool, something with a flat edge. So I'll use that here. And notice I'm just taking half of that coil and gently spreading it out, and the other half I'm gonna spread the opposite way. Okay, you can't forget this step. It's really important. And then you can just run your finger along that edge to fine tune that. Okay, now I have it joined together from the inside, but I'm not done. I'm going to sit this up, and I can use my corner form now upright. Support the inside. I'm going to smooth. Notice as I'm smoothing this, I'm not scratching this way, and I don't want to overwork the clay. I'm just dragging the flat edge of the modeling tool up. I need to get this joint connected where the two corners meet at the top. Again, I'm just trying to be very deliberate with how I'm handling the clay. You don't want to overwork it. All right, and then flip carefully. And do any other smoothing I need to on this side. Okay, so that's step one. I'm going to get my next set of corners done, and then I'll show you how to attach to create your four walls and then the base.